It is a beauteous evening, calm and free, by William Wordsworth, 1770 to 1850. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. The broad sun is sinking down in its tranquillity. The gentleness of heaven broods o'er the sea. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder, everlastingly. Dear child, dear girl, that walkest with me here, if thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. Thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year, and worshipp'st at the temple's inner shrine, God being with thee when we know it not. Okay, this is a poem by William Wordsworth, one of England's top poets. He was born in Cumberland. Let's see, he's one of the great romantic poets, and he's part of the great romantic age in English literature. Let's see, he was poet laureate for Queen Victoria, and anyway, let's see what this poem's about. Firstly, this poem needs a little bit of history. When Wordsworth was 21, he visited France, and he was in Calais, and he fell in love with a French woman, Annette Vallon, and she got pregnant and had a child. Anyway, Wordsworth went back to England, and about 10 years later he came back in 1802, and this is when this poem was written, and he came back in 1802 to visit her and his daughter Caroline. However, notice when he went back, he went with his fiancée Mary Hutchinson. So, well, there's been debate about whether he ever meant to marry her, but I probably think not. So what's the poem about? Well, the poem is about the beauty of nature. It's about how holy nature is, that nature is something that's absolutely wonderful, and it should be treated as something that nature is a religious experience, that nature and God are the same thing. And then he also talks about young people and the religiousness of young people, that how young people naturally are close to God, and they have a natural faith to them. Now, this poem is a sonnet as well. So, it's a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is as quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. So it's a beautiful, peaceful, quiet evening. Everything's calm, everything's beautiful. And the holy time, so this is the time of evening prayer, the time of evening song. It's quiet. There's no noise. It's as quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. So notice we've got a simile here. It's as quiet as a nun who is breathless, whose love of God has taken her breath away. and nuns are silent, so it's very silent. Also, this word breathless, I think, is quite interesting, because I think if you're breathless, you're waiting for something to happen. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and this is perhaps a way to draw us into the poem. What's going to happen? So it's a beautiful evening, and the evening is as quiet as a nun who's contemplating God. The broad sun is sinking down in its tranquillity. So the sun is sinking, the sun is going down. The wide sun, the sun is broad, it's part of the world, and also, though, the sun seems bigger as it's coming down over the sea. The gentleness of heaven broods o'er the sea. So the sky is watching over the sea. The heavens is watching over the ski. The sky, God is watching over the sea. So we've got this image of the sun going down over the sea. And then he starts with the sounds. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder, everlastingly. And here he's talking about the sound of the sea, the waves breaking. This is the thundering of the sea, the sound of the sea. This is an eternal sound. So listen, the mighty being, God is awake, nature is awake. I think God and nature here are the same thing. And doth his eternal motion make. With his eternal motion, the permanent movement of the sea, he's making the roaring sound of the waves breaking. And this is everlasting. So God is everlasting, nature is everlasting. And then he changes into this idea of the faith of children, how the children have this special religious quality to them. And why children are close to God. And even though here he's saying that the girl doesn't seem amazed or awestruck by this beautiful scene where God and nature are showing us the beauty of the world, but that doesn't mean that she's any less close to God. Dear child, dear girl that walkest with me here. And this is Caroline, his illegitimate daughter, who he's come to see, I think for the second time in his life. If thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. So if you seem if you don't seem amazed by this beautiful scene, this beautiful setting of the sun going down, it doesn't mean you're not spiritual. It doesn't make you less divine. Thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year. It's just that you are with God. You are looked after by God. You are in the bosom of Abraham. You'll spend your time permanently with God. And worshipped at the temple's inner shrine. And you are a child, and you have the access to the holiest of the holies. God being with thee when we know it not. And God is always with you. As a child, God is always with you, even when we, the adults, don't know that this is happening. So he's saying that God is in nature, in the beauty of nature, and God is also in this little girl who is walking beside him. So he's amazed by the beauty of the sea, the calm sinking sun, the quiet, the tranquility, the sky over the ocean, and the beauty of it, and that nature is a religious experience. And then he goes on that children are also part of religion, that children are close to God, they are always close to God, and they have a natural sense of faith and wonder at all times. So they don't necessarily have to react to this beauty, because this is where they are. So he's awestruck by the beauty of the sun, and he's discovered the how children feel all the time. But she doesn't necessarily appreciate this, but that's because she's always there. She's always in Abraham's bosom, worshipped at the temple's inner shrine. So, It's a Beauteous Evening, Calm and Free by William Wordsworth.